Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpack Trader Training Room for Thursday, July 15th, 2021. Good morning, Al. Interesting start to the morning. Morning, Crypticon. Bruce. Thank you very much, Bruce, for the sound check. All right, let's jump in. Crude, we are still on the July contract. Volume is still on July. I would expect that either tomorrow or Monday we will roll over to August. I'm sorry, we're on the August contract. We'll roll over to September. But let's take a look at what happened today. And this trade plan is already done. First trade was actually 902.15. It hung around the entry for a few seconds and then popped down quickly. I wasn't totally focused on it, and I missed it. If you got the trade, you got a quick target 1, target 2, and if you trailed, and nice target 4 trailer. But if you didn't get that trade, then you had a long coming back up that you had at least 5 bars that touched the entry, so no question you got into that trade. Hitting all 4 targets and a nice trailer, 72.09 for the stop on the trailer. The entry was 71.67, so 42 ticks on the trailer, plus targets of 13 and 21 for 34 ticks. The initial trade had targets of 11 and 18 for 29 and 31 on the trailer. So good 9 a.m. session this morning on crude. Unleaded had something fairly similar, actually. This initial short trade hung around the entry 4 or 5 seconds and then dropped down, getting a quick target 2 of 29 ticks. Not a big trade, and a 1 tick break even. If you're trading that and weren't able to get interesting. Is your phone working through your Wi-Fi, or is it working through the cellular carrier? Anyway, the second trade hung around the entry for quite plenty of time to get into that one, and you got a target of 56 ticks and a nice trailer. That tells you about the difference in latency of your desktop, the internet provider for your home, and for your cell. So the two shorts, the short was definitely your trade on unleaded, and the market just opened, and the Russell picked up a quick short. And no trade so far on the YM. Pound Aussie is in a short on trade a day Its first target is 86.05 from an entry at 86.19. My entries were at 86.14 and never got there. Both trades there canceled. Actually, the first trade canceled because of the second trade, and the second trade canceled on these two bars. And now I have the short at 86.09. Money management at 86.95 or 85.95, and target at 85.93. And if you're using the SMA trade on the Russell, 88, that actually would go 88.6, and that did stop and reverse. And stop loss to break even on the pound Aussie on trade a day. My trade is still hanging out, and quick one tick break even on that one. So limiting the loss actually would have, looks like would have survived, or did it hit the, no, it hit the full stop exactly on the Russell, so that would definitely have saved you some pain there. Still something that we're just watching. Okay, nothing new on the YM. So let's take a look at soybeans and see what it did this morning. Okay, it's get in sync. It never went up to the, now let's see, it was up here. No, get in sync was definitely too fast. Then you had the stop at the short that went too far. And now we're in the long here. And let's see. In that long, looks like that short triggered, so that would stop, the stop and reverse would have been canceled. Now the stop and reverse adjustment would have kept us out of that one, getting us a target one, and it should have been basically a break-even stop. Well, no, actually would have gotten us a little bit on the long, so one and done on soybeans, and the YM with a short as well as the Russell. And the Russell getting target 2 for that should get us definitely to a POQ trade on the Russell with the very small loss there. The YM now in the short, trying to work down to money management. Good morning, Armando. So crude and unleaded are done. The Russell is done now. It just stopped out. Now, if you didn't get the SMA trade, your loss was 64, and we took 27 on, well, actually you wouldn't be positive yet if you didn't take the SMA, the stop and reverse with the SMA dark blue trade. But if you took that, then you would be POQ, and this one is, you'd ignore this one. And a potential, just missing money management on the YM, a potential stop and reverse at 43. So crude, unleaded soybeans. The Russell, if using the SMA trades, we're waiting for another trade yet for the basic trade, goal level trade plan, not using that SMA trade. And we did stop and reverse to long on the YM. So our loss is from 22 to 43. So 42 ticks on two positions. And good morning to you, Miles. Things moving around quickly this morning. The Russell at the moment looking for a trade off the 50 EMA. And the YM with another potential stop and reverse from 707. So far, still long. And stopping and reversing, so we're now short. That would be 36 ticks. Lost 72 net. And 42 is 114. We have a 37 tick target one now on the short. Less the 2, so 35. Okay. And the YM with target one. $35 ticks on target. That brings us to 29, 90, down 99. No, I'm sorry, down 14, so 09, down 79. Stop at 886. I'm sorry, 686, 682, and stopping out at 687, 677. From 707 is 30 ticks, so that puts us at down 49. And looking for the next trade. And the Russell picking up at least money management long. Still surviving so far. That was a 38 tick target, and that would have been worth taking, and that would have, I believe, put you POQ. That's a big enough target. Because the 1.5 point Russell can give you some pretty big trades, and that's one of them. So I will assume that the Russell is POQ, even though we're not actually trading that. It's another long, or another short rather. See if this one goes to target. Nope, that's going to be a stop and reverse. So would have been well off, and oh, that's not going to be nice. A stop and reverse and a full stop out. So that definitely would have wanted to be POQ on the green long trade. Pound Aussie's not doing much. I can see if did it hit 05 on this bar. Oh, missed by a pip, 1 pip. For those in the trade a day service. And the YM with the crossover filter keeping us out of that long trade. Now we have a magenta bar, and we could potentially get a long trade here. Now the question here is going to be, are we going to be if we get a down bar here, it looks like we may get an up. There, bouncing through 682 is the entry on a pullback. $683, excuse me. And it did pull back, did get there, it looks like. So we're in that trade. And there is a target 1. So that's another 26 ticks. So we're down 23 at the moment. And let's put the There's the micro ES. All right, we had at 9:30 we had a setup, but at 9:35 it had already gone up to target, so no trade on that. And the YM long surviving so far. Pound Aussie trying to work its way through the 50 EMA, finding support there. We'll have to see if it's able to make its way through. Looks like target 2 was hit on the YM. Stop now at 689. We're not going to have another trade on the 692 for the stop on the YM. Let's put this down here so we can keep an eye on all three market indices. Looks like the ES and the micro ES and the Russell are pointing the way upward. Hopefully the YM follows. Okay, our entry was at 83, so we need to get to 706 for break even. 707 would be one tick positive on the day for POQ. $6.99 now for the stop. And stopping out at $6.99, so still 7 ticks negative, almost break even. And the short, that's not filtered by the crossover because the entry is below the 50. But I would definitely have pushed that below the 20. It's 692, maybe 691 even, maybe. But it looks like we got there. Yeah, it looks like we got to 691. So the alternative, that's not terribly large trade. You had to go 4 ticks. If you tried to key level it, but that might not have been a bad idea. And looks like we're about to get a long setup on the micro ES if we get an up bar on this bar closing at 9:55. We've got the crossover. Now all we need is an up closing bar, an up bar. You got all three moving averages right there together. So that's a case where I'd want to definitely adjust around them and be willing to make a little bit bigger adjustment. And crude hitting money management, so that will not be a get in sync for the 10 a.m. session. And there is definitely stop and reverse into the short on, or getting to the short, even with the adjusted entry on the YM. And now the ES is showing a downward move, as is the Russell. So this may do what we want it to do. Our target one on that trade is 26, less the 4 ticks for the adjustment. Would put it at 22, but that would get us positive, and so I would stick with target one in that case to try to get positive. Markets look like they're going sideways with a little bit of volatility now. Looks like no trade on the 955 or 855 bar, 855 central, but 955 on my charts. And heading back up. Peaking over above 720, our stop is at 726. And down again. Let's see if it comes down through the moving averages again, or if it's going to go up. YM and the pound Aussie, and micro ES are the only things that we're looking at this point. Everything else is POQ. Power of quitting. for any of those new to the room. Please do hit that like button if you feel you're getting value from this. It does help Troy's channel. Some 3 more minutes to the top of the hour. And crude going up now and hitting money management, so that no get in sync on the long either. Two and a half minutes before the top of the hour. Okay, looks like we're going to get a setup at the top of the hour on the micro ES, and I will give that 1 bar to trigger in, since that's the 9 a.m. Central is the end of our session. And the YM short did stop out. So that would be a 37 tick risk with the adjustment. So 74 ticks, and we now have a 200 EMA long trade. So we're down 81. 736 for the long entry. 771 for money management. And looks like 775 for target. And that target is 39 ticks. About 20 seconds to the top of the hour. And there is our setup at 43.60. I'd make a small key level to 25 on that, being a $10 level. And that's going to be a pretty big trade. Yeah, 7-point target 1. So definitely a big trade. I normally wouldn't make a key level adjustment, but at the 10-point level, I will. Actually, at this point, I would, with that big a trade, I would consider taking it up to, with the 200 sitting at 60.52, I'd probably take it up to 61. As I said, I'll give it the 5 minutes of the next bar for that. If it doesn't trigger in within that 5 minutes, then I'll let it go. Good morning, Don. Welcome. Don, I don't use TradeStation, so I can't help you with that one. I would say Troy is not going to be in Monday. I'll be covering the room Monday. He's going to be still on the road traveling home. So I would say the best bet is either go ahead and email him at Troy, or actually your best bet is get in touch with TradeStation support, because that's a platform issue. Because the momentum bar is definitely a part of the. Now you are setting it to 1 tick for the range. You got your range price and the increment at 1 tick rather than 1 minute, correct? Because if I remember correctly, the range. Yeah, okay. What chart are you working with? Or what symbol? Or symbols? Okay, didn't trigger in on the micro ES within that 5 minute window, so I would cancel that order and stand down. And the other option is since it did trigger in unadjusted, you could leave it in place, but since we seem to be a little bit toppy, and especially since we're right at that 200 moving average, I really don't particularly want to get into a really big trade like this. Okay, oh, okay, that's what it is on the micro ES is quarter point ticks, so I forget what the tick value on the 10-year bond is, so probably what it is your momentum bar range is outside of the it doesn't fall on a tick for the micro ES since it's a quarter point. I suspect that what's your tick value on the, or tick size, not tick value, but tick size on the 10-year bond? The momentum bar is a particular type of range bar within uh, within TradeStation, but the micro ES I'm running here is just a 5-minute chart. It's not a range bar, and that's on the catapult strategy. No, no, not the value, but the actual tick size. What's the actual tick size? The actual minimum price movement. Okay, 64 ticks per point. That's probably going to be what it is, because you're looking at the difference in 64 ticks per point and a range bar based on that versus a quarter point. And because TradeStation sets up the range bar size by the price the price variation of that size range. So that's what it is your price range doesn't match up with the tick value range, or the tick range. It's not on a tick. That's why you're getting the invalid range momentum bar range, because your range doesn't match up when you try to go to the micro ES. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you need to go in and change your momentum bar size, because that TradeStation sets that up by the price change, not the number of ticks, not the tick value or number of ticks. Like unlike NinjaTrader, which I'm projecting here, Ninja actually projects the long on the YM did hit target. Excuse me. Let me cover that. Hit a 39 tick target. We were down 81, so down 42. And then we picked up, let's see, 63 on the trail. If you took the reverse at 64, that's okay. I've given the trending nature of the day, I'd be really careful with shorts at this point. Now you need to change the size of your range bar. For the micro ES, I haven't done any testing on range bars. Okay, now the momentum bar is actually the bar type, so that's going to be part of your symbol. That's not a part of the strategies, the studies. That's actually, you need to set your bar type. You're under your symbol. I believe that's under format symbol for TradeStation. So that's actually something you would set up irrespective of whatever indicators you had on the chart. That's actually part of setting up the symbol. So my suggestion would be create a separate chart for that. Micro ES is on the September contract at this point. The index futures are all on 3-month cycles, so they're in the September contracts at the moment, and will be until about I think it's roughly about the 12th is when 12th of the month, that month will be when you see volume roll over to the next contract, which will be December. And now I'm showing a long trade potential. So that would stop and reverse adjustment would take that to 86.23. And trade today stopped out for a break even. And it looks like it has the entry at 21. So trade today has the same yellow trade that I do, except in my case it's going to be a stop and reverse, so I'll adjust to 23. Okay, what that means is that you've got the range is set for 5 cents from what you had on the which that 5 cents doesn't sound like it would be right even for 1/64th. No, 0.25 would just be a one tick bar, and that's going to be way too fast for the micro ES. I really don't have any particularly good ideas for what you'd want for a momentum bar on the ES. I haven't done any testing, but I would expect you're probably going to be looking at something like 8 to 10. So something like at least 2 to 2.5 points to 2.5 to 2.0 to 2.5 at a minimum. You may very well find that that's too noisy and too fast for the rate of movement on the ES or micro ES. Yeah, as Al was mentioning, with those two, you definitely should set up 2 different charts, and you can set them up and have them both both in the same workspace, so you got both charts open. The momentum bar is a type of range bar, and that should be that setting. Those settings should be, I believe, under format symbol. Some of our I just lost connection to the chat. It's trying to reconnect me. Okay, I'm back reconnected on the chat now. Some of you who are TradeStation users, so yes, you should be able, once you get to what you're looking for is the bar type for your symbol, and you want to select range bars, and then range bar, and then one among those is there's several types of range bars. One of those will be momentum bar. All right, crude is flat, so we can take it, and we did trigger into the okay. And there is a short on crude at 72.39. I think I would move that down to 37 and get below the current level on the 2020 SMA. It's not a big trade, and that's going to push your money management down to 27 from 29. And it did trigger in. Good morning, everyone. Pamela. Or good morning, Pamela. uh, all right. Looks like Pound Aussie has almost gotten to money management. All right, money management on crude. So bring your stop to 36 and target 2. So that will be a POQ session. For the 10 a.m. session. So that's 2 POQs this morning. Two POQs mini sessions on crude. And approaching target 3. And money management achieved on the Pound Aussie as well. That just depends on the market, Ram or Ram. Just depends on the day in the market. Sometimes the trades will last for 15 minutes to an hour and a half. Other times you'll be in and out in 3 or 4 minutes. And target 3 hit on crude. So targets 2 and 3, even with the 2-tick adjustment, get us 12 and 18 for 30 ticks. Don, for things that we normally trade, I can make some suggestions, but for the micro ES, I really don't have any good suggestions because I haven't done any testing on that. And the pound Aussie going through target 2. All right. Our crude stop still at 36 because of the adjustment. You're quite welcome. Crypticon, what platform are you trading MCL off of, and what broker or what data feed? For those of you that aren't aware, MCL is the symbol for the new micro crude that just launched on Monday. What broker or data feed are you using? Because I'm not getting any data through Kinetic at the moment. Okay, Philip Capital. Yeah, that would be the Globex. You're using the Globex feed, which that's what I'm supposed to be getting from Kinetic, but so far there's no data for MCL. So I've got to get in touch with support. So I'm assuming that your Philip Capital account was through Ninja Brokerage. Since I know that's one of their two. That shouldn't be. No, these are NinjaTrader charts. I use NinjaTrader primarily because I'm an Interactive Brokers customer, and I can trade my Interactive Brokers account through NinjaTrader. And Interactive Brokers commissions are cheaper than TradeStation, even with the rebates. And I had been, when I started trading futures, I had been a an Interactive Brokers customer for almost 10 years already. No, that just means that you're getting the Phillip Capital data feed, and it's including MCL, but or the Ninja Continuum feed is including MCL, but I'm not getting uh, a data feed for through Kinetic, which should be the Globex, as long as both of them should be the same data feed, the Globex data feed. No, these are Ron. These are actually NinjaTrader charts, and I typically use Chart Trader, but I do keep a dome open for placing orders that I need to fit for fill-in purposes and that kind of thing. And the pound Aussie stopped out at break even. And that ends your session. Interesting. Today's trade was bigger, so it hit targets 1 and 2, and that was its first active trade. All right, its second active trade. The first one was break even, so that's POQ for trade today. Not for me, because I had a stop and reverse situation on that, so I'm not positive yet. Don, what I'm trying to tell you is that's a trade station setup issue, because the momentum bar is the bar type in TradeStation, and that's a TradeStation setup. It's not part of the indicator set. So that's why I'm pointing. You would say contact NinjaTrader support, or look. My understanding is they've got reasonably good training reasonably good training video set. Trade Today is a signal service that Troy runs, trading the pound Aussie on Spotlight. It's the same chart that I'm running, but he's running the chart on TradeStation and then trading. You'll have to trade Forex on some other broker's platform, because TradeStation is not a Forex broker, but they still provide Forex data. But that's one of the reasons I do mention the Trade Today trades, is to point out that different brokers' data makes a fair amount of difference in what the chart looks like. Sometimes it's exactly the same. Sometimes it's not even close. TradeStation, the last time I checked, 9 cents per contract sounds awfully low. unless fees have changed. They used to be somewhere in the 50 to 70 cent range, where TradeStation was about $1.20 before uh, rebates. But and of course the commission is only a part of your trade cost, because then you've still got exchange fees. The IB data feed is filtered. It's not a pure data feed. So I'd be missing ticks. Is why I'm using Kinetic. And that's been a known issue with interactive brokers for a long, long time. I haven't looked, Rom, I haven't looked at the per contract pricing lately, but if it's down to 9 cents, that's a significant change. All right. Troy will be back in on Wednesday, so if you don't find what you're looking for, and although actually if you're new to TradeStation, you're going to be on TradeStation 10, and Troy is still running 9.5, so your best bet is to work through TradeStation's online training or contact TradeStation support, because that setting momentum bars is a platform issue, not an indicator issue. Now the range bars that I'm showing, the ranges that I'm showing on the various charts here are ticks. for each of these. That's how NinjaTrader sizes the range bars. And a NinjaTrader range bar is equivalent to a TradeStation momentum bar, where the bar goes X number of ticks and then has to go one tick beyond to close that bar and open the next bar. Whereas on just a TradeStation straight range bar would just go X number of, or X price movement, and would immediately open a new bar as soon as it hit that level of price movement. I can't tell you what number to use on micro ES. That's what I'm telling you. It depends with TradeStation. It just depends on what the tick size of your market is, because TradeStation uses price to set the range of the momentum bar. So it's a price movement, not a number of ticks. So if you want, like we're running on the Russell, it's a 15 tick range bar. That would be a 1.5 point momentum bar on TradeStation, so 1.5. Crude, the 8 tick range bar is an 8 cent or 0.08 on crude. The YM 14 point range is 14 points, because the YM doesn't have any decimals. The micro ES is a 1/4 point tick, which would be four ticks to the point. So a 2 point range bar would be 8 ticks. And to determine what size bar you want to use with the micro ES or the ES, because they're going to react basically the same way, you're going to need to do testing. Okay, the boot camp at the end of this month is specifically for the Catapult Energies. The Catapult is a modular strategy. So each module is a boot camp, and that module only works with that particular market. So the Catapult Energies boot camp coming up at the end of the month will work with crude oil, unleaded gas, and heating oil. He's also working on a grains module that's going to be soybeans, wheat, that kind of thing. The setting determines the size of the bar. So that's how it affects the indicator. If the bar is too small, you're going to get the price movement is typically going to be too fast to trade effectively. Also, it can give you too many trades to work effectively with, and you can get caught up in too much noise. If the bar is too big, you're not going to get enough trades, to do what you want to do typically in a day trade situation. And it may just be too slow. But the 5 cent, okay, I'm trying to remember what so on a 1/64th tick, is 0.1565. So it's just over 1.5 cents. Oh. Okay, a 5 cent momentum bar on your 10-year treasury is going to be just slightly above over 3 ticks. But a 5 cent bar is, less than one tick on the ES is why you're getting the error. So it's like the momentum bar is just like, say, a 5-minute bar, except instead of being time based, it's based on price movement. Yeah. 1/64th of a dollar is just over 1.5 cents. So 64, or 1 divided by 64, and then I just multiply it by 3, and I get 4.6875 cents, or 0.046875 points or dollars. So the 5 cent momentum bar would be just over 3 ticks. But a tick on the ES or micro ES is 25 cents. Just 1 tick, or a quarter point, 0.25. So that's where you have to work with the different values. With TradeStation, you don't say, okay, it's this many ticks. With TradeStation, you say it's this many ticks times the tick size to get the price. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the momentum bar is price based versus time based, and then you've got other choices like tick bars or tick charts, which are we used a number tick charts quite a bit in the days when we were trading, when we were doing primarily counterpunch, the 377 tick, and you'll see that we still use that for the crude oil report using counterpunch. So each bar is 377 trades. And then you've got additional subsets of the range bar type, like Renko bars and several other variations of that. So on my crude chart, I'm using an 8 range, which is an 8 tick range, which is equivalent to an 8 cent, so 0.08 momentum bar on TradeStation. So each of these bars from say this one is 72.35 at its high point to 72.27 its low point. So it's 8 cents. Each of those bars represents an 8 cent price move. And it's just a matter of how TradeStation and NinjaTrader set up the bars as to how you, or how the extents are set. The pound Aussie where I have 80 range is because we're using 8 pip range 8 pip range bar, but since each pip is 10 ticks, is why we why we are using 80 ticks. So that would be a 0.0008 momentum bar on TradeStation. That's all right. It's a fairly steep learning curve if you're new to some of these things. But the indicators are going to work based off whatever bar you use. As I've got the 5-minute bar here on the micro ES versus the range bars on the other charts. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most of these charts are spotlight, with the exception of soybeans, which is counterpunch, and the micro ES, which is on the catapult strategy. So just giving some different looks at the different strategies, and I can pull up some different things. As I say, I really don't know what bar would be most useful for the ES, because I really haven't done any particular testing. Troy may have done some testing with momentum bars, but I know that when he released the strategy, it was for the ES, it was all based on time-based charts. Which one of the reasons that he did that was for people that were using. Okay, yeah. So you wouldn't have this micro ES or the soybeans. ZS is soybeans on NinjaTrader. Oh. Oh my. Okay, there we go. Looked like it may have blinked out for a minute there. All right, so we're basically pretty well done with everything so far. And the Pound Aussie short has canceled. So that puts us flat there. We're done with the 10 a.m. session for crude. Actually, we're just starting the 11 a.m. session. And it's about time to call it a morning. Any other questions, folks? I will be back in on Monday, sitting in for Troy, and we'll be on a basically regular schedule next week, except that I'll be in for Troy on Monday. I'll be in Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Troy will be in Wednesday with the regular session and the crude oil inventory report. I'm more than happy, Pamela. I'm going to be in front of the computer trading anyway, so I might as well run it. You're quite welcome, Don. The best advice I can give is keep a notebook and keep asking questions. Write down the questions when you think of them, and come into the trade room and get in here when Troy is in as well as I am, because we both will have different viewpoints, and Troy has a great deal more experience than I do. The regular morning sessions. Now, are you talking about the mini sessions, Rom, or are you talking about for the crude oil inventory report? Okay, the mini sessions that we run for the crude trade plan on the 8-tick chart are 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11 to 12, as well as 1 to 2:30 in the afternoon. Now, obviously, the room won't be open for those. The room is typically it's Monday through Thursday, 9:30 to roughly about 10:30 to 11 o'clock typically. Sometimes it is a little less, sometimes a little more. So it just depends on how active or fast or slow the market is, and how many questions we get. The crude oil inventory report, and when we on the days where that falls, normally it's Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. So on Wednesdays, when you have a crude inventory report, we do not trade the 10 a.m. mini session. We just trade the inventory report starting at 10:32, 2 minutes after the report comes out. When we have a Monday holiday, the crude inventory report is delayed until Thursday at 11 a.m. And once in a great while, there are multiple things going on. And this has only happened once in the 6 years that I've been trading, and that's been it was During election week last year, it was delayed until Friday. So that first week of November, it was delayed until Friday last year. And then, of course, the first time Troy has ever seen him actually miss the schedule and delay the report output was yesterday. The report was delayed until about 11:30 yesterday. So we were in here at 10:30 for it, and there wasn't any indication it was going to be delayed until about 10:40. They said 11 o'clock, and then shortly after that, they rescheduled to 11:30. So, as I say, that's the first time that Troy has ever run into that in his, close to 20 years of trading. So, but yeah, so we have a special session. It's going to be it will be a separate feed usually. Well, in fact, always now. But that will be dependent upon when the crude oil inventory report comes out that particular week. But as I say, normally it'll be 10:30 on Wednesdays. All right. Okay, no, I mean big by large targets and large risk. Don, I just saw your question back a little earlier where you read by big. Do you mean time value? No, I mean the size of the trade itself, the size of the targets and the risk. The larger the bar you use, the larger the trade and larger the risk you're going to be dealing with. So it's going to take more movement to get to targets, and you'll have more risk on each trade, or greater risk on each trade with larger bars. With smaller bars, typically you got smaller risks, but the small targets are also respectively smaller. With very fast markets, typically you'll need to use a little bit bigger bar so that it's not just running through your entries. All right, everybody that was enjoying the room today, please do hit the like button, and we will be here again next week. Have a wonderful weekend.